Could the year 2025 mark the beginning of humanity's final chapter? Author Tom Horn believes the Jewish feast days, an asteroid named Apophis, and the ancient prophecies from the Dead Sea Scrolls might be pointing to something extraordinary.
I intend to share undisclosed facts that are stranger and scarier than most people can comprehend, and it is going to shake the public to the bone.
In the book of Revelation, chapter 8, a star called Wormwood fell from heaven, bringing devastation to Earth. Tom Horn suggests that Wormwood could be Apophis, a real asteroid will pass dangerously close in 2029.
I made the case that if Apophis is the fulfillment of the Wormwood prophecy, Revelation chapter 8, that would happen in the middle of the Great Tribulation period. And then I made this point. I said, so if you are, and most evangelical Christians, whether they know it or not, are dispensationalists who believe in a 7-year tribulation period, if that's what you believe, and if Apophis is Wormwood, then with that being in the middle of the tribulation period, you would count backward 3.5 years to arrive at the beginning of what is called the 7-year Great Tribulation.
If Apophis falls mid-tribulation, then counting back 3.5 years brings us to the year 2025. That's when something remarkable happens.
He had opened a Jewish calendar, a Hebrew calendar, on his device. And he went 3.5 years earlier, and he literally turned pale because 3.5 years earlier, before the impact of Apophis, to the day is the middle of the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, we probably don't have enough time for me to explain all the ways in which end times prophecy experts connect the Feast of Tabernacles and the Feast of Trumpets with the beginning of the 7-year tribulation period and the second coming of Jesus Christ. But just suffice to say this, it not only falls into the middle of the Feast of Tabernacles, but literally on the 7th day of the Feast of Tabernacles in 2025.
The Feast of Tabernacle is a joyful harvest celebration, but on its 7th day, Israel sacrificed 7 bulls, remembering how God delivered them from the gods of the nations, especially from Apophis, the Egyptian god of chaos. Could it be coincidence that the asteroid named Apophis is set to arrive exactly 3.5 years later?
Why is that important? Because the 7th day of the Feast of Tabernacles is when the ancient Hebrews, get this, sacrificed 7 bulls in commemoration of God delivering them from all of the gods of the nations, but in particular, delivering them from the gods of Egypt, and in particular, delivering them from Apophis, the ancient Egyptian god of chaos. Literally, that day in antiquity is 3.5 years to the day from when Apophis is going to strike the earth, is when the Hebrews will be celebrating how God in antiquity delivered them from Apophis. So is God going to deliver his own people 3.5 years earlier?
But that's not all. The Jewish feast calendar reveals even more connections.
10 days before that is the Feast of Trumpets, which is also connected to the second coming of Christ. Why? Because the Apostle Paul drew a parallel to the Feast of Trumpets when he said, at the last trump, so during the Feast of Trumpets, the shofar is sounded 100 times. Paul says, at the last trump, the dead in Christ shall rise. But get this, in 2025, 120 days before that is the Feast of Pentecost. And in biblical numerology, the number 120 is the number of the end of mankind.
As if the feast alignments weren't enough, Horn points to ancient writings from the Essenes, the Jewish sect of Qumran, known for the Dead Sea Scrolls.
The ancient Essenes, the inhabitants of Qumran. Now, lots of people, they know the Essenes from the Dead Sea Scrolls that were discovered there in the 1940s. What they don't know, and by the way, this has only been unearthed in the last 50 years. Archaeologists have also recovered prophecies that the Essenes made, and even material that illustrates who the Essenes were. 150 years before the birth of Jesus Christ, the Essenes began prophesying about the first advent of the coming of the Messiah. They said that he would come at a time when a king named Herod would be a king and he would turn evil. They said he would die in the year 32 AD, which is what scholars believe exactly happened. They said he will die not only for Jewish people, but he will be sacrificed for the Gentiles as well and give birth to an age of grace that would extend for a period of 2,000 years. The list literally goes on and on. We're going to produce a documentary film in 2021 about all of this. But why am I bringing this all up now? Because they also prophesied this, that mankind, now this was over 2,000 years ago, these highly accurate prophets called the Essenes who lived in Qumran, they predicted that mankind will enter its final age. Guess when? In the year 2025.
These ancient prophecies, the biblical feast days, and even modern astronomy seem to converge on one pivotal year, 2025.
And yes, this involves a cover-up of the highest order by national space agencies, including NASA.
But Horn isn't setting any dates. He presents this as a theory, a possible prophetic countdown.
So right now it's top secret information, but there are a massive amount of indicators that 2025 is a pivotal year that the world needs to be paying attention to.
The question is, are we watching prophecy unfold?
The asteroid is 100% certain to strike Earth, according to one space expert who says this is a matter of life and death.
You'd probably have millions of casualties.
Is a planet-killing asteroid a possibility? NASA has determined that the threat is real.
Do you believe 2025 could mark the beginning of the end? Or are these just fascinating coincidences? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more prophetic insight, and share it with someone who's watching the signs of the times.
But what's more concerning is that this was prophesied in the Bible for the end times.